The Galactic Council chamber was a place that carried the weight of thousands of years of history. The walls were made of shining crystal, glowing faintly with energy, and the high dome above reflected the soft lights of dozens of alien worlds. Delegates from every great civilization sat in their assigned seats, their voices low, their expressions tense. The galaxy was in danger, and everyone knew it. At the far end of the hall, the human delegation stood quietly. They were the newest, members of the council, admitted only 50 years earlier. Compared to species who had ruled the stars for millennia, humanity was young, untested, and often underestimated. Yet in that short time, humans had made a name for themselves. They had offered new ideas in diplomacy, shared discoveries in medicine and technology, and worked tirelessly to prove their worth. But today was different. Today, the council had called them here not for praise or partnership, but for judgment. The council's high speaker, a tall alien with silver skin and eyes like twin suns, raised his staff and spoke with a calm yet firm tone. Members of the Mao Council, we gather under dark shadows. The Valar Dominion rises on the outer rim. They spread like fire, consuming systems without mercy. Their fleets are vast, their weapons unmatched. We must face this threat together, or we will all fall. Murmurs filled the chamber. Some species wanted to prepare for war. Others hoped for peace talks. But then the speaker's voice shifted, turning cold. And yet, there are those among us who have stirred this storm. It is humans who expanded recklessly into uncharted regions. It is humans who provoked the Dominion's anger. And now, it is humans who endanger us all. The words struck like lightning. The human delegates exchanged shocked glances. Ambassador, Amina Rahman, Earth's chosen representative, rose slowly. Her dark eyes were steady, though inside her heart pounded. With respect, High Speaker, she said firmly, that is not true. We did not provoke the Dominion. We only explored the stars as every species here once did. We reached out in peace, but they chose aggression. If blame must be placed, it lies with the Dominion alone. Some voices in the chamber murmured in agreement, but many others hissed in disapproval. A lizard-like delegate from the Drathan Alliance slammed his clawed hand on the table. Humans bring chaos wherever they go. They grow too quickly, too unpredictably. They do not respect the order we have built for ages. This war is their fault. One by one, more delegates spoke against humanity. They claimed Earth's people were reckless. They claimed humans were dangerous dreamers who upset the balance of the galaxy. Few spoke in defense, and even those who did sounded half-hearted. The High Speaker raised his staff again, calling for silence. The council has deliberated, he said. We cannot risk the survival of all for the sake of one young race. Therefore, humanity's seat in this council is revoked. Earth and its colonies are to face the consequences of their actions alone. The words echoed through the chamber like a final sentence. The humans had been cast out. Ambassador Rahman stood frozen, as though the ground had vanished beneath her. She had worked for decades to build trust, to show that humanity could stand beside the greatest civilizations of the stars. And yet, in a single moment, it was gone. But she did not cry, nor did she plead. Instead, she lifted her head high. Her voice carried through the chamber, calm but filled with quiet steel. You think you have saved yourselves by casting us aside, but you are wrong. You have only shown us the truth, that when danger comes, we humans stand alone. Remember this day, Council. Remember it when the Valar reach your worlds. For when that time comes, do not call us for help. Run. Gasps filled the chamber. The word hung in the air like a blade. Run. The alien delegate stared in silence as the humans turned and walked out of the chamber. No guard stopped them. No one dared to speak. The council had chosen its path, but deep inside, unease spread like a shadow. Outside the council hall, the human delegation boarded their ship. The polished silver corridors echoed with silence as they walked, their faces heavy with unspoken thoughts. One of the younger diplomats finally broke the silence. Ambassador, what happens now? Without the council, we are alone. The Valar are stronger than anything we've ever faced. Rahman looked out the viewport where the stars shone like distant beacons. Her eyes softened, but her voice remained steady. Alone? No. Humanity has always been alone. Did we not survive wars, disasters, and struggles long before the Council even knew our name? Did we not rise from a single world to the stars with no one to guide us? We were never meant to be protected by others. We will protect ourselves. The young diplomat fell silent, comforted by her certainty. But others exchanged worried looks. The Valar Dominion was no ordinary enemy. They had defeated entire civilizations. What chance did humanity truly have? Yet in Rahman's heart, a spark had been lit. She remembered Earth's history, times when humanity had been underestimated, times when survival seemed impossible. And always, humanity had endured. The Council believed casting humanity aside was the end. But in truth, it was only the beginning. Meanwhile, across the galaxy, news of the decision spread. Some species rejoiced quietly, glad to see the unpredictable humans humbled. Others doubted the Council's wisdom. After all, humanity had shown resilience before. Perhaps betraying them was a mistake. But none could ignore the words Rahman had spoken. They echoed in whispers, in council chambers, in war rooms. Run. It was not a threat, not exactly. It was a warning, a prediction, a reminder that humanity was not as weak as the galaxy believed. Back on Earth, the news arrived swiftly. Colonists, scientists, and soldiers listened in disbelief as they heard the Council's betrayal. At first, there was outrage. Some felt despair. Others felt anger. But soon, those emotions transformed into something stronger. Unity. If the galaxy would not stand with humanity, then humanity would stand for itself. Factories began to hum with new energy. Engineers designed ships, not for exploration, but for defense. Young men and women volunteered for training. Colonies sent supplies and resources. From Mars to Titan, from Earth to distant outposts, humanity prepared. The Council might see them as reckless dreamers, but those very dreams gave humanity its strength. Dreams of survival, dreams of freedom, dreams of proving once and for all that humans were not a mistake of history, but its next chapter. And so, while the Council debated endlessly in their glittering halls, humanity returned to their home stars and began to build. The betrayal had not broken them. It had hardened them. In the silence of space, human ships began to move in secret patterns, gathering in hidden docks and asteroid bases. Their leaders spoke quietly, their plans bold and daring. The galaxy had cast them out, but soon, the galaxy would learn the meaning of the warning. Because when humanity was left with nothing, they found everything within themselves. And when the Valar Dominion came, the Council would remember the words spoken in that chamber. Run. The stars beyond the Sol system shone cold and distant, untouched by the chaos slowly spreading across the galaxy. For humans, these stars were not just points of light. They were possibilities, challenges, and reminders of their own place in the universe. After the Council's betrayal, Earth and its colonies became quieter, almost invisible, as humanity quietly prepared for what was coming. The Valar Dominion, a species both feared and mysterious, moved swiftly through Council space. Their massive fleets traveled like dark clouds across the galaxy, leaving trembling systems in their wake. Entire colonies vanished in days, their populations scattered or captured. Most species reacted with panic, calling emergency councils and reinforcing their borders. Yet even in this fear, none could act decisively. Their fleets were large but rigid, their strategies steeped in tradition. And the Council, once the voice of order and coordination, was paralyzed by indecision. Meanwhile, humanity did something different. Ambassador Amina Rahman stood in the central command hub aboard the human flagship Resolve. Surrounding her were the brightest human minds from every colony, young officers with the courage to take bold risks, and engineers who could turn a scrap of metal into a powerful weapon. The room hummed with quiet energy, as every individual worked on plans that no one outside humanity could predict. "Status report," Rahman said, her voice calm but firm. Lieutenant Marcos Chen, one of Earth's youngest fleet strategists, stepped forward. "Recon satellites indicate Valar movements near the Orion cluster. They are advancing faster than we expected. Council fleets have sent minimal support, claiming it's too risky to engage." Rahman nodded. "And the colonies in that region? They've begun evacuations, but the Council's resources are spread thin. Many worlds will not survive." A silence fell over the room. Outside, the stars continued to shine, indifferent to the fear below. Rahman's eyes narrowed as she considered their options. Humanity had been cast out, alone. But history had taught them that being alone was not weakness. It could be strength. "Then we act alone," she said finally. "No one else will save them, so we will. We will not wait for permission. We will not wait for orders from a council that has already abandoned us." Across the galaxy, small human task forces were already in motion. On Mars, engineers modified ships for speed and stealth. On Titan, colonists reinforced stations with energy shields that could withstand much larger attacks than anyone expected. On Europa, scientists worked on communication networks that could relay messages faster than conventional methods, allowing human fleets to coordinate across light years. Every action was deliberate, every preparation focused not on revenge but on survival. Humanity had learned over centuries to adapt, improvise, and thrive under impossible circumstances. And now those skills were being tested on a scale no one had imagined. At the same time, in the Council's central command, panic was growing. Systems were falling faster than anticipated, and the Valar showed no signs of slowing. The elder species of the galaxy, who had once dismissed humanity as a reckless upstart, began to whisper nervously. One counselor, a blue-scaled being from the Alith cluster, spoke in hushed tones to a colleague. Perhaps we underestimated them. The humans, they are gone, yes, but if the Dominion reaches their regions, what happens when they return?" The other shook its head. "Return? They are alone. Without our fleets, without support. They cannot hope to stop the Valar. It is only a matter of time before they fall like the rest." Yet none of them could deny the reports that had begun reaching Council ears. Small human fleets appearing suddenly at strategic locations had slowed the Valar's advance in ways no one predicted. Colonies that should have fallen were holding strong, and in every report, the same word began to appear, not in anger, not in pride, but in awe. Resilient. Back in human territory, Rahman reviewed the latest reports with her command team. Every system told a story. Colonies working together, civilians contributing to defense efforts, engineers creating solutions on the fly. "Look at this," said Commander Luis Ortega, pointing to a map of Valar attack paths. "They expect us to react like the Council fleets, slow, methodical, predictable. But we're not predictable. Every movement we make is different, every strategy unusual. The Valar cannot anticipate us." Rahman smiled faintly. "That is exactly why we will succeed. They think they know what we will do because they have studied other species for centuries. But humanity, we are different. We do not follow patterns. We adapt. We improvise. And most of all, we never give up." Young officers in the room exchanged determined glances. For the first time in their lives, they were fighting not for approval or rank, but for survival, and the survival of the galaxy. In the outer rim, the Valar Dominion advanced confidently. Their commanders believed the humans were weak, a species, easily dismissed. "Why waste resources on Earth?" one Valar captain said, his voice metallic through the communication channel. "They cannot oppose us. Their fleets are insignificant. Their worlds will fall like all others." But as they approached the Sol system, they began to notice anomalies. Sensors detected ships appearing out of nowhere, defensive networks activating faster than they could calculate, and small, agile human craft striking and disappearing almost instantly. It was as if humanity anticipated their every move. For the first time, a ripple of uncertainty passed through the Dominion. They had expected easy conquest. What they did not expect was resistance. Meanwhile, on Earth, humans continued their preparations. Citizens volunteered for training. Engineers built ships faster than ever, and scientists worked on energy shields, propulsion systems, and weapons designed to defend, not destroy. Each step was precise, efficient, and focused on survival. Children watched the skies with curiosity, learning about human resilience from instructors who shared stories of past challenges. Humanity's history was full of struggle, but every struggle had ended in growth. Every challenge had made them stronger. Remember, Rahman told her team during one briefing, "We are not just defending Earth. We are proving something to the galaxy and to ourselves. Even if the Council has abandoned us, even if the Dominion believes we are weak, we will survive, and we will show them the power of humanity." Her words spread quickly, reaching every colony, every fleet, every station. A sense of unity formed that no betrayal could break. As weeks passed, human fleets moved with precision. They did not attack without reason, but they did not wait to be attacked. Scouts reported enemy movements, engineers reinforced weak points, and pilots practiced maneuvers that no alien fleet had ever seen. Every system humanity touched became stronger. Every colony learned to protect itself. Every citizen, from children to elders, understood that survival was not optional. It was their duty. And as the Valar Dominion advanced, they discovered something strange. Systems that should have fallen quickly resisted. Ships that should have been destroyed vanished only to reappear in unexpected locations. Defensive grids acted with precision and intelligence that seemed almost human. The Dominion began to realize what the Council had ignored. Humans were not a weak species. They were not to be underestimated, and with that realization came fear. One night aboard the Resolve, Rahman stood alone at the observation deck, staring at the distant stars. The galaxy was in turmoil, the Council's betrayal still fresh in her mind, but she felt a quiet confidence. Humanity was ready. They had been tested before, and they had never failed. A soft chime alerted her that a message had arrived. It was from a colony on Kepler 442, one of the furthest human settlements. Rahman opened it. "Ambassador Rahman, we are ready. Our defenses are complete. Our ships are prepared. Humanity will not be destroyed. We will survive." Commander, Ilara Nix Rahman allowed herself a small smile. Humanity was not just surviving, they were thriving in the shadow of betrayal. And she knew the warning to the Council would soon make sense. Humans had been cast out, left alone against a rising empire, and yet they had already begun to prove that the galaxy had underestimated them. When the Valar came, the Council would see the consequences of their choice, because humanity did not fight like other species. Humanity did not fight for glory. Humanity fought for survival, for freedom, and for the right to stand alone if necessary. And that fight had only just begun. In the silence of space, hidden among the stars, human ships prepared their moves. They were ready to face the Valar, to protect every colony, and to show the galaxy the meaning of one simple truth. Humans were resilient, unpredictable and unstoppable when pushed to the edge. And so, as the shadow of the Dominion spread across the galaxy, humanity quietly gathered strength, determined to turn betrayal into opportunity, weakness into power, and doubt into certainty. The Council may have abandoned them, the Dominion may have underestimated them, but humanity was ready. The Valar Dominion believed the humans were weak. They assumed that after being abandoned by the Galactic Council, humanity would cower, hiding on their small, fragile worlds. They did not know that humans had faced extinction countless times in their history and had always survived, stronger than before. The first encounter began near the star system of Lyra 7, a human colony that had been developing its defenses quietly, far from the Council's notice. Valar scouts had approached, Without warning, expecting an easy victory, their ships were enormous, filled with advanced weaponry and crews trained for rapid destruction. But when they arrived, they were met not with panic, but with silence. Lyra 7's orbiting station seemed abandoned. The Dominion's commanders, relaxed, confident that victory would come in moments. Then the humans struck. Out of nowhere, small, fast ships darted between the Valar cruisers, deploying electronic interference and precise energy pulses that disabled key systems. The Dominion fleet was momentarily stunned. Their massive ships could not easily target the smaller, agile human craft, which moved unpredictably, almost chaotically, yet with perfect coordination. A human pilot, Lieutenant Aaron Sol, laughed over. The comms. They think we're trapped. Let's show them how humans move. Another squadron flanked the enemy ships from an unexpected angle, striking their communication arrays and forcing confusion among the Dominion commanders. Within minutes, Lyra 7's orbital defenses activated fully, shielding the colony while human ships harassed the enemy relentlessly. Back on Earth, Ambassador Raman watched the battle unfold on her display screens. She had predicted this moment. The first time humans would confront the Dominion directly. Her team monitored every movement, providing intelligence to ensure maximum efficiency. Notice their patterns, she instructed her officers. They rely on size and power. They expect fear. Humanity doesn't give them either. The human strike forced the Valar to retreat temporarily, retreating not because they were defeated, but because they were unprepared for tactics they could not predict. It was a small victory, but a crucial one. Across the galaxy, news of the battle spread. Other human colonies were inspired. Civilians who had feared for their lives saw that humanity could not only survive but fight back. Engineers worked faster, pilots trained harder, and colonies strengthened their defenses. The Council, on the other hand, was shocked. They had dismissed humans as irrelevant, yet reports of the first strike showed that humans could do what Council fleets could not. Panic began to spread among the elder species. Could it be that humans, abandoned and underestimated, were capable of more than anyone imagined? The Valar Dominion regrouped, furious. They convened a council aboard their flagship, a massive vessel that dwarfed any human ship. The alien commanders spoke in harsh, metallic tones. They are weak. They cannot sustain this fight, said one. They adapt too quickly, another replied. They do not behave predictably. They do not follow our strategies. They are different. One elder commander, his scales glinting under the ship's lights, hissed, "They are dangerous. We underestimated them. Prepare the fleet. We will crush them before they grow stronger." The Dominion did not yet know the true strength of humanity. They had measured other species in fleets, firepower, and technology, but humans were not measured by such simple standards. Humans were measured by determination, by creativity, and by the refusal to give up when the odds seemed impossible. On Lyra 7, humans celebrated quietly. The victory was small, but morale soared. Commander Alara Nix addressed the pilots and engineers. "Today you showed what it means to be human," she said. "We were betrayed, abandoned, and yet we faced the enemy and held our ground. This is only the beginning. Remember this feeling because we will need it in the days ahead." Engineers cheered. Pilots clapped each other on the back. Civilians watching from the colonies smiled with pride. Humanity was learning to fight not just to survive, but to thrive. Raman knew that the real lesson was more than tactics. It was psychological. The Valar expected fear. Humans did not provide it. They expected weakness. Humans showed strength. And the Council, watching from afar, could not ignore it any longer. The human fleets continued to move strategically, striking where the Dominion least expected. They did not aim to destroy every enemy ship, for humans knew they were outnumbered. Instead, they focused on slowing the advance, protecting colonies, and demonstrating that the Valar could not move freely through human space. In one daring mission, a small squadron led by Captain Rena Voss infiltrated a Dominion supply line. Using only stealth and careful timing, they disabled key refueling stations and returned safely. When the Dominion fleet arrived to recover their supplies, they found nothing but empty stations and faint signs of human presence. "It's like they vanish into thin air," one Dominion officer reported. "We cannot catch them. We cannot predict them. They are unpredictable." The humans smiled at their screens in orbit, knowing that unpredictability was their greatest advantage. Where the Valar relied on technology, humans relied on intuition, creativity, and courage. And these qualities could not be copied, stolen, or defeated by machines. As the first strike concluded, Rahman gathered her team for a debrief. "This was more than a battle," she said. "This was proof. Humanity is not weak. Humanity does not need the Council's protection to survive. And most importantly, humanity cannot be controlled by fear." Her officers nodded, feeling the weight of the moment. The betrayal by the Council had fueled a fire in humanity that no one could extinguish. Each victory, each clever maneuver, each act of courage was a statement. Humans were not just survivors, they were a force to be reckoned with. The Council scrambled to respond. Emergency meetings were called. Questions were raised about their decision to abandon humanity. Could it be that casting humans out was a mistake? Could it be that this young species, underestimated and ignored, might now be the galaxy's greatest hope against the Valar? Yet Rahman did not seek their praise. She did not care about the Council's regrets. Humanity fought not for recognition, but for survival. The Council's betrayal had shown them one thing. Humans could rely only on themselves, and that reliance was a strength no one else could understand. The Valar, meanwhile, regrouped for a second assault. But even as they planned, humans were already one step ahead. Scouts reported Dominion movements, engineers prepared defensive, arrays and pilots practiced maneuvers designed to confuse and frustrate the enemy. Captain Rena Voss smiled as she read the mission orders. "They think they know us. They think they can destroy us. Let them come. We'll show them what humanity can do." The first strike was over, but the war was just beginning. The galaxy had seen what humans could do when cornered, and the Council had begun to understand that they had misjudged the species. Every system, every colony, every human individual played a role. And as the stars looked down on humanity's growing fleet, one truth became clear. Humans were not simply surviving. They were preparing to define their place in the galaxy on their own terms. The first strike was proof. Humanity would not fall. Humanity would not be controlled. And the warning to the Council, "Run," was only the beginning. The galaxy watched in quiet awe as humanity continued to defy expectations. What the Council had dismissed as a weak, reckless species was now a force that could not be ignored. Every star system humans touched became stronger, smarter, and better defended. Every action they took against the Valar Dominion showcased creativity, courage, and determination unlike anything the galaxy had seen before. The Outer Rim, once thought lost, began to stabilize. Human colonies worked together, sharing knowledge and resources faster than any alien species could manage. Ships moved like pieces on a chessboard, covering weaknesses, striking when least expected, and disappearing before the Dominion could respond. It was not just warfare. It was a demonstration of human ingenuity. On the command deck of the flagship Resolve, Ambassador Amina Rahman observed the reports from every sector. Her eyes were sharp, her mind constantly calculating strategies, predicting Dominion responses and preparing contingencies. Around her, officers spoke in low, urgent tones, coordinating human fleets scattered across light years. "Commander Ortega," Rahman said, "update me on the Vega cluster. Have the colonies there stabilized?" Ortega nodded. "Yes, ma'am. Our efforts to reinforce the orbital defenses and deploy rapid response teams have succeeded. The Dominion attempted a strike yesterday, but our small squadrons intercepted them. They are now reconsidering their approach. They expected fear. They found resistance." Rahman allowed herself a brief smile. Humanity thrived when they were underestimated. The Valar had assumed they could intimidate the humans, but humans did not respond like other species. Fear was not their guide. Creativity, determination, and unity were. Meanwhile, the Dominion fleets regrouped for a larger offensive. Their commanders were frustrated, unable to predict human movements. Every strike they attempted was met with human ingenuity. Supply lines that had been targeted repeatedly were now guarded by decoy fleets, false transmissions, and rapid relocation of key resources. Each time the Valar tried to anticipate human strategy, they were surprised. Commander Lothar, a Dominion officer, barked over comms, "Their defenses are everywhere. How can a single species coordinate so perfectly across so many systems?" Lothar's eyes narrowed. "It is not technology alone. They think differently. They improvise. They adapt instantly. We cannot expect them to behave like any species we have faced before." It was true. Humans fought differently. They measured risks, yes, but they also valued creativity and intuition. They did not rely solely on firepower or numbers. They relied on innovation and courage. Where other species would be paralyzed by fear or uncertainty, humans thrived. On Titan, engineers worked day and night to create energy shields capable of withstanding large-scale attacks. On Mars, fleets were retrofitted with rapid deployment systems, allowing them to strike fast and disappear before the enemy could respond. On distant outposts, scientists developed new communication networks linking human fleets across light years in real time. Each colony, each fleet, each individual contributed. Humanity had learned a valuable lesson from the Council. They could not rely on others, they could only rely on themselves. And when pushed to the edge, humans could achieve what other species considered impossible. In a war room on Europa, Captain Rena Voss addressed a team of pilots preparing for a major operation. "The Dominion believes they know us. They think they understand human strategy. Let's remind them why they are wrong. Precision, unpredictability, and courage. That is our advantage. Do not underestimate yourselves. The galaxy is watching, and we will show them what humanity can do." The first major combined operation came in the sector of Andros 9, where the Valar had concentrated several fleets. The human task force was smaller, but their coordination was flawless. They used stealth ships to infiltrate Dominion communications, spreading false signals and luring the enemy into traps. Rapid strike teams disabled key supply depots and forced the Dominion fleets into defensive positions. Even the Dominion High Command was confused. Their calculations had predicted an easy conquest. Instead, human actions disrupted their entire strategy. Ships moved unpredictably, colonies defended themselves effectively, and humans anticipated enemy movements with uncanny accuracy. One Dominion captain admitted quietly to a subordinate, "We underestimated them. They are unlike any species we have fought. They think in ways we cannot anticipate." Meanwhile, the Council watched from afar, horrified. Their decision to abandon humanity had seemed wise at the time, until now. Reports streamed in from the front lines. Human colonies had held against overwhelming odds. Human fleets had disrupted entire Dominion operations. Human leaders had coordinated a galaxy-wide strategy that not even the Council's oldest fleets could replicate. In secret, some counselors began to admit the truth. The humans were no longer a young, untested species. They were a force, a species that could adapt, improvise, and endure in ways the Council had never imagined. High Speaker Vera spoke quietly to her fellow counselors, her voice tinged with unease. "Perhaps casting them out was a mistake. We thought we were protecting the galaxy from their recklessness. Instead, we have unleashed something beyond our control." Back among the humans, morale was high. Every successful mission strengthened confidence. Every colony that survived an attack reinforced the belief that humans could face any challenge. Ambassador Rahman and her team knew that this was more than defense. It was a statement to the galaxy. Humans had been betrayed, abandoned, and underestimated, yet they were thriving. "Remember," Rahman said during a fleet briefing, "we fight not just for survival. We fight to show that humanity is more than anyone believes. We do not need permission. We do not need approval. We survive. We thrive, and the Council, the Dominion, everyone who doubts us will see that humans cannot be ignored." Engineers, pilots, and commanders nodded. Their resolve was unshakable. Humans had learned the greatest lesson the Council could never teach. Strength comes not from authority, but from resilience, creativity, and unity. As the humans prepared for their next move, the Dominion realized that a direct confrontation would be more costly than they had anticipated. Small fleets of humans struck swiftly at critical points, creating confusion and forcing the Dominion to divert resources to protect supply lines. Colonies became strongholds, equipped with defenses that could withstand assaults from much larger fleets. Humanity's unpredictable strategies frustrated the Dominion at every turn. Where other species relied on brute force, humans relied on adaptability. Where others sought perfection in planning, humans embraced improvisation. Where others measured risk by probability, humans measured it by determination. It was not luck, it was humanity. In one daring operation near the Valar-controlled moon of Karthus, human forces executed a coordinated strike that disabled 3 major orbital stations without losing a single ship. Pilots weaved through enemy fire. Engineers remotely sabotaged weapons, and scientists rerouted energy to create diversions. Commander Ilara Nix watched the operation unfold from her station. "They will never forget this," she said. "This is the human way. We strike with intelligence, courage, and unity. And we do not give up, no matter the odds." Her words were not boastful. They were simple truth. The galaxy had underestimated humanity for too long. The Council had betrayed them. The Dominion had dismissed them. Yet humans continued to prove that even in isolation, they were unstoppable. The Council, watching reports of human victories, felt unease spread through their ranks. Some members whispered that the humans were no longer under their control. Others feared that their own positions were now threatened by a species they had tried to dismiss. High Speaker Vera spoke again, her tone somber. "We may have misjudged them. If humans continue like this, they will not just survive. They will shape the future of the galaxy. And we, the Council, may have no choice but to follow their lead." The betrayal that had once seemed final had instead sparked a transformation. Humans had taken the shadow of abandonment and turned it into strength. They were no longer merely participants in galactic affairs. They were a rising force, unstoppable and united. At the end of a long day, Raman stood on the observation deck of the Resolve, looking out at the stars. The galaxy was in chaos, the Dominion's fleet scattered, and human colonies were stronger than ever. The Council's betrayal had been the catalyst for human unity, ingenuity, and courage. She turned to her team. "We are not just defending humanity. We are showing the galaxy what humans can do. We were betrayed, yes, but we are stronger for it. The Dominion will learn to fear us, not because we seek power, but because we will not be controlled. We will survive, and we will thrive." Her words spread throughout the human network, reaching every colony, every fleet, every citizen. Humanity was no longer a species that could be ignored. They were a force defined by creativity, courage, and resilience, and as the stars watched silently, humanity prepared for the battles ahead. They would not only survive, they would show the galaxy the meaning of their warning to the Council. "Run, if you think you can stop us." The stars were quiet, but the galaxy was far from peaceful. The Valar Dominion, once confident of an easy conquest, now faced the unexpected, a human species that had grown stronger, smarter, and more united with every passing day. Across countless light years, humanity had transformed from an underestimated outcast into a force the galaxy could no longer ignore. Ambassador Amina Rahman stood on the bridge of the flagship Resolve, her eyes scanning the movements of both Dominion fleets and the scattered Council forces. Every report told the same story. Humans were not only surviving, they were controlling the battlefield, and soon the final confrontation would come. "Commander Ortega," Rahman said, "Status." "On our combined fleets," Ortega adjusted the holomap display. "All human fleets are in position, ma'am. Every system we control is reinforced. The Dominion forces are converging on the Council's core worlds. If we wait too long, those worlds will fall. Rahman nodded. Then we strike now. We cannot wait for them to reach the heart of the galaxy. Humanity moves on its own terms. Across the galaxy, human fleets were ready. Pilots practiced maneuvers one last time. Engineers double-checked the energy shields and propulsion systems. Scientists coordinated communications that allowed humans to act as one across countless systems. Every individual knew their role. Every colony understood the mission: protect the galaxy and show the Council what humanity was capable of. The Valar advanced, unaware of the trap humanity had carefully prepared. They assumed their numbers would intimidate the humans, that the Council's abandoned species would finally yield. Yet they did not know humans the way humans knew themselves. As the Dominion approached the central cluster of human-controlled systems, they encountered what appeared to be a small defensive force. Confident, the Valar advanced. Then the humans struck. From hidden jump points, fleets emerged in perfect coordination. Stealth ships disrupted communications. Energy pulses disabled weapon systems. Strategic diversions forced the Valar into positions they did not anticipate. One by one, key Dominion ships were incapacitated or forced to retreat. It was not just a battle of firepower. It was a battle of minds, strategy, and human creativity. Every strike, every maneuver, and every decision demonstrated the unique strength of humanity. Captain Rena Voss, leading one of the squadrons, spoke over comms. They think this is just another battle, but humans fight differently. Stay focused, stay adaptable, and do not hesitate. This is our moment. On the Council's central worlds, panic had reached its peak. They had dismissed humanity as weak, had turned their backs, and now watched helplessly as human fleets dominated the battlefield. Reports from human operations revealed the truth. The Dominion had been pushed back, and human forces were advancing steadily, reclaiming territory the Council could not defend. High Speaker Vera addressed her fellow councilors. We underestimated them. We cast them aside, and now they are stronger than any of us could have imagined. If they continue like this, humanity will not simply survive. They will control the future of the galaxy. Other councilors whispered in fear. The young species they had dismissed had turned betrayal into strength, and the galaxy would remember. Back with the humans, Rahman addressed the fleet. Remember, we fight not for revenge, but for the protection of all who cannot defend themselves. The Dominion seeks to conquer. We will stop them. And the Council, they will see what they lost when they abandoned us. Every pilot, every engineer, every soldier understood the importance of the mission. Humanity had grown from a single planet into a network of colonies and fleets, each contributing to the strength of the whole. They had learned to fight not just for survival, but for justice, freedom, and the right to stand alone if necessary. The final confrontation began near the Valar stronghold in the Andros Prime system. Human fleets, coordinated with precision, surrounded the Dominion from multiple angles. The Dominion was forced to fight on terms they did not choose. Their large, powerful ships were hampered by human tactics. Their supplies were cut off. Their communication lines disrupted. It was chaos for the Dominion and order for humanity. Every move the humans made was unexpected but deliberate. Every attack was measured. Every defense was perfect. From the bridge of the Resolve, Rahman watched as human forces executed the final maneuvers. Now, she said, show them what humanity can do. Within minutes, the Dominion fleets began to retreat. Their forces were scattered, their morale broken. Systems that had once feared human power now celebrated their freedom. Humanity had not only defended its colonies, they had turned the tide of the war. Once the Dominion withdrew, humans did not pause. They advanced into former Council-controlled regions, not to conquer but to stabilize and protect. Colonies were reinforced, civilians guided to safety, and fleets remained on alert. Humanity was careful, strategic, and just. Their goal was not domination, but preservation. It was during this time that the Council attempted to intervene, calling for a meeting with Rahman and human leadership. They sought guidance, support, and perhaps forgiveness. But humanity had learned from betrayal. They did not fight for approval. They fought for survival. When the council representatives arrived, Rahman addressed them calmly. "You abandoned us. You called us reckless, weak, and unworthy. And now, after all we have done, you ask for our help?" The council murmured, unsure how to respond. Rahman continued, her voice steady, carrying the weight of all humans who had suffered and thrived, despite betrayal. "We acted alone. We defended the galaxy when you could not. We showed the Dominion that humanity cannot be underestimated. And now, we will protect those who need it. But do not forget, we do not seek your approval. We do not answer to you. We warned you once. Run, if you cannot keep up with what humanity has become." The council fell silent. They understood fully what Rahman meant. Humanity had grown beyond their expectations, beyond their control and beyond their judgment. In the aftermath, human fleets worked tirelessly to rebuild what had been damaged by the Dominion. Colonies thrived under their guidance. Communication, networks linked planets across light years. Trade and transport resumed, faster and safer than ever before. Humanity had not only survived, it had flourished everywhere. Species that had doubted humans before now looked upon them with respect, admiration, and awe. Where once humanity had been dismissed as reckless and young, they were now recognized as a species capable of shaping the galaxy's future. Rahman stood once more on the observation deck of the Resolve. The stars stretched infinitely around her, silent witnesses to the events that had unfolded. The Council's betrayal had tested humanity, and humans had passed every trial. They had turned adversity into strength, weakness into opportunity, and doubt into certainty. She turned to her officers. "This is the lesson the Council and the Dominion will remember. Humans survive when abandoned. Humans thrive when underestimated. And humans protect the galaxy when no one else will." A quiet cheer rose among the officers. They had not fought for glory, but for humanity itself, and in doing so, they had reshaped the galaxy. The Council would never forget the warning. Run, not just from humanity's power, but from what humanity became when forced to stand alone. And as Rahman looked at the stars, she knew that humanity's journey had only just begun. The galaxy had witnessed the rise of a species unlike any other. And now, every civilization would have to remember one simple truth. Humans were unpredictable, resilient, and unstoppable when united. The Valar Dominion had been driven back. The Council had been humbled, and humanity had claimed its place. Among the stars, not as a follower, not as a weak outcast, but as a species that would shape the future. The final lesson was clear. Betrayal could not destroy humans. Abandonment could not weaken them. And underestimating them would be the greatest mistake the galaxy had ever made. The stars shone quietly above, but the galaxy knew a new truth. Humans were here, humans had survived, and humans would never be ignored again. And so humanity stood tall, stronger than ever, ready to meet the challenges of tomorrow.